I'm just a bloke.
You're just a bloke who went to the FCAs. So did you go on behalf of Hotspur Way? Is that what happened? Did we get nominated?
No, I went on behalf of Football Heritage TV.
Football Heritage. I can't say I know him. So, so how does it work? The drink's free. Do you have to pay for them?
No, you have to pay.
Oh, you do.
You have to pay for a ticket.
Oh, you have to pay for a ticket as well. But you're a celeb.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, technically, as we were like nominated, we got one free ticket. But yeah, bit of food. It was all good.
Where was it? In Liverpool?
Anfield.
What, it was at Anfield?
Yeah, it was in Anfield.
Oh, was it? Okay. Do you think we'll ever get nominated? I hope we don't. I hope we go like we become like Tom Cruise, the Tom Cruise of the Spurs podcasting scene. Never ever. He has been nominated for an Oscar. He's just never won it. By the way, we are recording, and welcome to Hotspur Way, Season 1, Episode 20. This is the international break one. And we have created a walking order. Normally we call it a running order. Let's see what's on it. Not much. Not much at all. So what's been happening since we played Wolves? Well, England have played some meaningless games. One against Malta and the other one against Northern Greece. And I only found out the score, the result of the North Macedonian game earlier today, 1-1. I'm so happy I didn't watch it. So happy I didn't watch it. You know what? I've actually got a question, guys. If you were the FA and you called up Daniel Levy, and you said to him, listen, we're gonna get rid of that tube station Southgate, and we're just wondering, would you allow us to borrow just for the Euros Ange? And he said, yeah, just ask him. If he says all right, then that's fine. How would you feel if Ange was the England manager? Actually, I'll ask our colonial commenter, Johnny. How would you feel? I mean, you're American, but if you saw Ange being in the dugout for an England game and taking the national team to the Euros, how would you feel? Would you become an England supporter?
I guess I kind of already am, anyways, just because I have some heritage in that part of the country, or that part of the world, rather.
Well, I
think, yeah. I won't reveal any more information about myself than that, but I think I'd be interested just to see what he would do with a different team. You know, I mean, I didn't follow him before he came to Spurs, so it'd be interesting to see how he sets up and how they would perform with different heads, right?
Well, I think he would keep the same sort of squad. He'd probably drop Henderson because he can't run, and you know what Ange is like about people running. But other than that, I don't see who else he would bring in, and I can see England winning the Euros with him at the helm. You know, I really could. Perch, what do you think, mate? If Ange was there, what do you think we would
I'd be like, what are we doing if we allowed our manager to go and manage England?
Oh, come on. He's got like first dibs on all the players.
No.
You know what he's like. He chats them all up on the sidelines. Come on.
Mate, I'm at the stage I couldn't care less about England at the moment. Like, for me, I want my manager in the office organising what we're doing for the summer, getting that all planned and stuff. I don't want him running off to Paris or France, wherever it's being played, to worry about that. Listen, Southgate's going to be here for another tournament, and it finally will be the last tournament. We have to stop worrying about it. And he's a rubbish manager. He hasn't got a clue. He gets away with it with good players. But yeah, not for me. Maybe that's just... I used to, when I was younger, they'll be good if this now. For me, no. I want my manager to be at the helm at Tottenham, sorting out.
He is, mate. He's going to be at the helm.
No, he's not. Not if he's worrying about that, because.
But we've hired the whole spreadsheet gang from Aston Villa. It's fine. You know, they can sort out which players we're going to go for, and then he can pick them.
Manager's got to stick. You want your manager to stick.
Mate, it's going to be his villa in Greece, in one of the Greek islands. Okay, he's going to be there for like 3 weeks. What's the difference? No, he is, by the way. That's not even an exaggeration. He is. I won't divulge which island.
In the summer.
For the summer. Hold on, the Euros are in the summer, right? They're not putting them somewhere
in the summer.
Right, okay, right. So he goes off on his holiday. I won't divulge the island, but there are people who knows where he lives. He's got a lovely villa on one of the islands of Greece, and he's also got a house in towards Thessaloniki as well, which I've not been to actually. I mean, I'm not
How,
been to
how,
South.
how many islands? How many islands are there in Greece that
There-
basically are housed? Like I have no fucking idea.
So there were. I don't know if this is a myth. I think there are 10,000 Greek islands. Some of them are just rubble. I don't know how many of them are habitable. I know that some of them literally just have some sheep on them and like a few guys knocking around. I don't know. I haven't really been to Greece that much. I went to Athens last year. What a dump. Absolute dump. Other than seeing the Parthenon. And then... I don't know if I told you.
I've
What?
been to Athens.
What, you liked Athens?
No,
So I went during the protest. So it was like during November and of 2022. And there were these protests and I was just like a tourist, being a tourist, walking around like with a map, like an idiot. And I basically got water cannoned. And there were Molotov cocktails going all around me. I wasn't then allowed to go back towards my... Yeah, I mean...
Jesus.
Yeah,
I know. I
So-
know from my experience there, it's not. Like I do feel because there's no money in Greece in Athens and stuff like that. That's why. But yeah,
Because
it was.
Postacoglu's got it all. So listen, I would love him to be. It's because it's like Spurs content. Do you know what I mean? For me it is, and I would love him to be there. But I'll tell you what, if you're wondering where is Hannah and Ross, the last we heard is Ross was in Slough buying some pink wafers for Hannah, and they were sorting out
How
a
has
date.
Slough got a mention on this podcast? It's
Well,
incredible.
you're on the group. I mean, you're barely on it. I mean, we don't have enough rose petals to throw at your feet whenever you do make an appearance.
That's unbelievable.
But look, it's sad that they're not on. But I think we're going to give you an update next week. In fact, we can ask them. They'll both be on next week, and we can ask them how it went. I know that Ross is really excited for this date. Hannah, not so much. I think she's just doing it for us and the listeners. And that's the way it is. And
Let's just hope they do some audio recordings so we can get the real feel
Would you
of that.
really
that
wanna-
sound that sound of a boot stuck in mud. That that
Unbelievable.
no. Hi, Perchy.
True though, isn't it? It's not a joke, is it?
you know what's funny is that Hannah will probably laugh her head off listening to this, and Ross will just be sitting there shaking his head, and then trying to find 1,000 different Simpson memes to post our way. How dare you? My boy listens to this. Oh, Ross, we love you. Johnny, listen, have you got a question? So I want to talk about Everton and Manchester City and Chelsea in a bit, because this is a Spurs podcast, so it'd be wise to talk about other teams, especially on international break. Have you got any juicy questions? And I know you do. Don't.
Of course.
If you've got the Hannah and Ross one, don't read that one out yet. Read that out towards the
That
end.
one I kind of scrapped and I put it off to next week when they'll be back. So
Also, what you want them to answer it, or it's a saucy.
yeah. I mean, because it's they might have to defend their actions, so to speak, right?
Oh, cool. Yes.
That
Wow.
was a shame, yeah.
So yeah, go ahead and ask Perch that nice question that we got in. I can't remember who it was from.
Question from a fan. This is Stanley from, I think the town is called Shenley. I don't know how to say it.
Stanley
in
and
the
Shenley.
UK.
Come on.
Stanley and Shenley.
Right, yeah.
All right, so this is you're sitting on the beach, somewhere beautiful, sunny, water, etc. Your dream woman is sitting next to you. Mikkel, Poch, Klopp, somebody walks up next to you and says, "You can have any player from my club on a free, but I'm gonna have to wank you off on the beach in front of your dream woman. What do you do and who do you pick?"
Sorry, what? Who's thought of that question?
Stanley and
I don't know.
Shenley.
Stanley,
Stanley.
from Shenley.
He's a deviant, that Stanley.
He's an absolute creep of an individual. Big up to you, my friend. What is going on here?
I don't know, but seeing you squeal is so funny. It's so
it is.
brilliant to see you squeal. Like, it's like I'm squeezing a dry balloon up in oil, and it's squealing. Go on, please answer that question.
You can tell how he's running through players in his head, I think, James.
He
It doesn't
is,
have anything
isn't
to do
he?
with the other part of the question.
There's multitude of answers here. What are we talking about? The player? Are we talking about the manager? What's my partner thinking next to me?
Well, she doesn't care,
Well,
clearly.
No, I hope she does care. Big up, wifey. And if she's watching, listening, whatever, I don't know. I keep getting that wrong.
Hold on, you've got a wife.
No, my partner. She's my girlfriend.
Is
but
that Susie?
It is Susie. How do you know my? partner.
I know everything about you.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
I know.
Big up, Suze.
I don't know. I don't know anything about Johnny, which is terrifying. He might even be Canadian. I mean, we can't tell the difference between accents.
It could be honestly, literally anything. Like honestly,
So,
someone with a slight accent.
we'd actually get someone on Twitter. Oh, we broke the 500 follower mark, which was fantastic. And now we're getting a lot more questions in, which is really funny. Well, I'm just going to read out this question again, right? So you're sitting on a beach. So Perchy is sitting on a beach somewhere beautiful. Slough doesn't have a beach, so you're in Southend, right? Your dream woman, Susie, is next to you. And then you've got Mikel. Is it all of them? So like Arteta, Poch, and Klopp walk up together, or is it one of them?
Oh, I mean that's the way the question was written. So I mean it could be a theoretical of one of those, or it could be all of them next to. Who knows? Yeah.
Let's do all
However
of
you
them.
want
I mean, these three are classic candidates for a lemon party. So you've
so that's three wanks. That's you gotta wank three
This
dudes
is
now.
mental. What is going on here?
You've got Arteta. Oh God. The funny thing is, right, guys, we don't do a YouTube thing, right? Not yet. I mean, we'll do it in the future, but so we can't see Perchy, but because I know him and I know what kind of faces he has pulled, it's fantastic. Just listening to this. So you've got Arteta, Poch, and Klopp, and they walk up to you and they say, "Listen, you can have a player from any one of our teams, so you can pick 3 players, right? And you can get him for a free. We'll make sure that he signs a contract, but." We have to wank you off, Perchy, in front of your woman.
So I'm basically picking one player from each of these clubs to join our club to be basically abused by 3 Premier League managers.
Only if you want the player, though, right? There's a payment to be made. The payment.
Well, Johnny, let's not read out the last bit of that question. So yes, you have to do this. I mean, you can read it out.
Yeah, sure. Look,
When I go to answer this question, Johnny, you can read out that last bit.
Basically, I've got to pick one player from each of those football clubs. It's quite simple for me.
Go on then.
So
remember, you are being whacked off for each one.
Yeah. That's cool.
Right, okay. Yeah.
It's all cool. That's no trouble.
Sounds like you've done it before.
I'm going Saliba. I'm going. Oh, Chelsea's a good one. I'm going Enzo Fernandez, and I'm going Mo Salah.
Right.
There you go. There's the 3.
All right, Johnny, do you want to ask me that question? Just read out the last 5 words. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. What do you do next?
I tell them to fuck off. Right. So let's talk about Everton.
I would at least have a good. I would just wank dudes off for the fun of it. That's all.
You wouldn't even take the players. You keep your players. Yeah. You come here. Right, listen, Mrs. I'm not going to mention your surname, Mrs. Johnny. You get the Polaroid out. You start taking it. Right. So Everton.
I would just throw the spunk on Perchy's lap or something.
Oh, so he's there as well in this vision of yours. This is great. So I hope Stanley is happy with this one. So Everton have been docked 10 points because they went over the required amount for financial fair play, and that was including the added amount that was put on due to COVID, right? And they were immediately docked 10 points. There are some conspiracy theories out there that this was going to be done while Bill Kenwright was alive, but they knew that, it's best if we just hold on. I don't know if that's even true because I don't know how he died, God rest his soul. But the point is that they have, the minus 10 points is that they have been docked those points, and now they're sitting, I think, 19th. Is that correct? I think so.
Yeah, 4 points.
But you then have juggernauts, and I'm talking about juggernauts in the law departments. And I would say not law departments, but law department of City. And then you have Chelsea. Now, Chelsea are a slightly different version of this. So I'm in Cyprus, right? And in Cyprus, be careful what I say here, but in Cyprus, what you do is there are many law offices here, and you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe millions of companies set up in Cyprus. Okay, that's not actually possible. By the way, they are functioning companies, right? But you're thinking, but if for a population of 1 million, how does that work? There aren't enough buildings for all these companies. Well, Johnny, I don't know if you know that in Delaware it's the same thing. You've got like a building there with 10,000 companies in it. That's just there on paper, right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah, for sure.
you have a lot of Russian, Ukrainian, Israeli investment in Cyprus. They are not the salt of the earth people. Not all of them, but a fair amount are not the salt of the earth people. They used to have a golden not shower but hand passport deal here, where as long as you invested 2 million, you would be given a passport, and there was really no background checks on this. So you could be Roman Abramovich and you could get a passport, right? And it was without any checks. It's like, just pay the 2 million, sort out some commission for these guys, and here's your passport, and it's an EU passport. Anyway, apparently that stopped, although I have my doubts. And so many businessmen and businesswomen, business people, what they do is they funnel money through Cyprus, and then they have holding companies in the Seychelles, BVI, and multiple other jurisdictions around the world, and they basically wash their money the legal way. Thing is, the thing that Chelsea did, and what the new owners of Chelsea did, was they came forward and said, well, listen, we're putting this forward to you, Premier League, because this is what we found. So please go lenient on us. Because what was happening is payments to agents were being made, payments to Conte were being made. We actually knew about this quite a few years ago. I remember reading about it. City have been done for 115, whatever it is, charges or something like that. Now, let's talk about Chelsea for a minute. They came forward and they said, listen, Premier League, we're going to work with you. And the Premier League said, all right, that's fine. But I believe that they're still going to face a massive punishment. Because if they don't, then you know how like a lot of people in the UK like point at Italy and say, oh, look at this, you know, you're all getting away with it, you're all scandalous, blah, blah, blah. If it doesn't happen here, then there's a problem, especially if it's happened to Everton, where they went, you know, quite a few million over because they were trying to be successful, let's say. You could say that maybe Usmanov, who was the Uzbekistan oligarch, who was behind it, and then since he was sanctioned due to the war in the Ukraine, that maybe that has affected everything. Fair enough. But you know what? The book was thrown at them minus 10 points. They're done. Maybe it's due, you know, maybe there's going to be an appeal. We don't know. But the point is, what do you think will happen to Chelsea? That's the first question. Johnny, what do you think, mate?
I guess I have a question because I don't know the details as well, probably as you guys do. There's, you know, it's probably harder. It's not thrown in my face over here through the news as much as it is over there. But to the extent at which Everton broke the rules, is that the same extent? Of course, it's not the same extent that Man City has been accused of, right? I would assume.
Are you asking a question?
Yeah. So, like, is the extent of which Everton has been now we'll say convicted, if you will.
It's so Everton were convicted of 1 or 2 counts. Man City have been convicted of 115.
No, well, Man City haven't been convicted.
Sorry, they haven't been.
I thought they've
convicted. They have been.
Before we get sued by anyone, they're just allegations right now.
If you do sue, you can sue Perchy. He's rich. So it's an allegation that they have broken over 115 different rules.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then Chelsea is they same thing. There's allegations, and then also they've kind of come forward and say
nothing's even happened with Chelsea just yet. Like they haven't even.
I thought they came forward and said that they did something.
They have. They've come forward and said what.
But there's no actual. There's no actual things yet. That's what I mean. There's no actual claims yet.
There's no charge yet, right? But it's coming. Okay. It's coming. And I think that the FA will have to throw some sort of book at Chelsea. And the question is, mate, how big do you think that book should be?
I mean, if you go on the Everton, if you just use Everton as a scale, it's going to be huge, isn't it? It has to be, or else they look
because
jackasses.
Because not all cases are the same. I mean, some of the cases on the Man City one were just ridiculous. Like it's the length of the pitch was the length of the grass was a half a centimetre too long. So I think you've got to put it into context. The cases that are being thrown at Man City, not all of them are the equivalents, right? Everton put their hands up and went, well, we messed up. Like that's why I think when the second the likes of Chelsea and Man City get thrown into the same conversation, I think it's quite lazy because I think we've got to remember Everton with hands up said we messed up. We overspent by over £300 million. We broke the rules. We'll take our penalty. We'll take our problem. Manchester City are arguing a lot. They've got very good lawyers, so they can very much argue. Chelsea will do exactly the same. This is not something that's going to happen.
But
What will happen?
there is a difference. There is a difference, mate. So because Chelsea came forward, what is that beeping? Anyway, because Chelsea came forward, they basically opened that can of worms and they admitted guilt. Now they're waiting for the charges to be filed against them, right? The thing with City is they've said we've done nothing wrong. So the burden of proof, the burden of evidence, Premier League is on you, not us. You go ahead and you start, collating all of your different bits of evidence and charges, and we'll see you in court, and we will drag this through until none of you who are trying to take us to court are probably even alive. Forget about working for the Premier League. And you know what? They probably can do that. And that's the difference here. Do you see what I mean? So not only have they said we've done nothing wrong, but not only that, they recently they announced that they have been the most profitable club in all of football history, which I know that a lot of people are sort of jumping on that. If they are saying that the City Group has been the most profitable, even that is a bit strange, because if you look at which clubs are in the City Group, they're not very big. It's only Man City who are.
A bit harsh on Girona, who are like dominating La Liga at the moment. I'll give you that one. But yeah, I get your point. I do get,
okay, fair enough. But Girona, how much are they what are they making anywhere?
Oh yeah, no,
are
as
making
a
anywhere even
club,
comparable to even
oh,
Luton?
No, they're a small football
not,
club.
right?
It's just because they're doing really well. That was all.
Yeah, so I think that's the case here, and so the second question, even though we've sort of not answered that first one, is if Chelsea are done, because to all intents and purposes, if they're done, it means that what they did throughout the quite a few of the Roman years was that they cheated, and so there's a chance that Spurs will be given the league in, was it 16-17? Yep.
Do you honestly believe that?
No, but it might happen. Why not?
It's not going to happen. Come on.
But if it does, so if it does, what are you going to do?
Huh? What am I going to do? Nothing.
Yeah. I'm going to hide, because what you will have is you'll have everyone coming out there and saying, "Oh, look, that's the only way you can win the league." But to be honest with you, I'm not going to hide. I don't really. This stuff doesn't bother me, but. It's going to be, oh, look how Spursy you are. Look at how you've won the league. Blah blah blah. I won't celebrate it. I won't. I'm not gonna like book an open top parade and down the high street and say, oh look, we've won the league, or even was it the League Cup? I think we were in the final with them, weren't we, in the first?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. It won't. Why? What does it benefit? It benefits nobody doing that. So it's not gonna. Like I'll.
But they do it, right? But they do it. So it's a there is precedent for it. They strip.
Where have they done
the
it
cup.
in the Premier League?
No, it's not in the Premier League, but in many other leagues, this is what they do, and it'd be very weird for the Premier League not to follow suit. So if they do strip Chelsea of their titles, if they then find that City, after we're all gone, so in 104 years that they've been, what they did was wrong as well, and they'll if they strip them of their titles as well, it also means Arsenal winning the league last season, which is annoying. But this stuff could happen, and I just wanted to know how you guys feel about it if it does.
It would be like you said. It would be weird, I guess, because it would be. I don't know. Obviously it's a really shallow, hollow victory, if anything.
It's not
real,
even a victory,
not real much.
is it though?
No,
it's not even a victory.
It isn't.
It's just listen. I think
it's just a name on a plaque, right?
It's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. Like you start doing like, listen, what's happened. Like I don't care. We're now punishing clubs for like being ambitious. Basically, now for FFP's a joke anyway. It's not fit for purpose. It's to make the big teams stay big and the small teams to stay small. It doesn't work. It's not, as I said, I'm against it. I think it's just stupid. Like it doesn't protect all it's there to do is to protect people from bad owners. Well, no, have better protocols on bad owners. That's the only way you'll fix it. For FFP, that's all FFP's there for, is to stop bad owners. But then why not mitigate that by making sure bad owners don't come into the game? That's the only way you'll fix it. I think
Have you ever met a decent billionaire?
No, but I'd have a billionaire that actually cares about, but in terms of the football, as in the football side of things. So like we put it into look at, I'm not talking political and all this lot, but I talk about like look what Sheikh Mansour's done at Man City, galvanised a football club that has turned into the best club in the world. Why would anyone not want that? Why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you want to have the best thing in the world, like that someone will put their money into it? I'm not talking about where that money's come from before we go into that. I'm not on about that. But why wouldn't you want an owner that cares that much about your football club that they will pump all their money into it so you become the greatest thing in the world? Like, why not? Like, isn't that what the whole point of sport is, to be the best?
It is, but if you can also be the best by doing things right, I believe that we are on the track of doing things right.
But in context, what is right though?
Well, the way that we're doing it.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
We're getting done at the moment for something that happened in 2008.
Well,
Let's be honest.
It's not being done.
Yeah.
We're not.
I just read that.
We're not being done. So do you want to just tell people? Do you want to tell listeners what you're talking about?
What about the Jermaine Defoe thing that we were basically paying dodgy agents? I mean, it's. Listen, I think it's ridiculous. I think, by the way, I equally think that's ridiculous. Like, that's ridiculous as well. But when we talk about squeaky clean and all this crap, no, we're not. We've got an owner getting done in America at the moment. So let's be honest.
He's not an owner, but there's no such thing as
well,
squeaky
he is. He
clean.
He owns the company that owns the football club.
No, he doesn't. Not anymore.
Yeah, because he basically palmed it off because he knew it was getting done, man.
I know, but legally he doesn't. And
oh yeah, but in the eyes of the law, Man City haven't done anything wrong because they're not being convicted. So we can't use the differings on that side of things to mitigate on other things. Is my point. If we're going to say, we're not anymore. Well, Man City haven't done anything wrong at the moment if we're brushing off with the same balance.
Well, the Premier League say they have, and so now.
But then Man City will say they haven't done anything wrong.
Well,
right?
that's what they've done, right? So then now it's, as I said, it's down to the Premier League to collect all the evidence and push forward. But I think that, and so does Daniel Levy, and a lot of other Spurs fans have read into it. So, Johnny, do you know about the new FFP financial fair play rules that are coming in the 25-26 season?
No.
So they're super, super strict. You can look them up now, by the way.
Yeah, I know about
this. So
this.
they're really, really strict, and what they're doing is they're making sure that, when you do find them, you can give us a bit of an update. But they're along the lines of it's like FFP as it currently stands, but on steroids. And so the auditing, which isn't really covered or talked about that much, is a lot more stringent. So we're talking, it goes down to 2 third parties. So one audits the other. And so trying to get round that is so difficult. I don't know if Perch, you work in a finance department, don't you?
No, I know all about this. This is basically about the way that the clubs have to generate their own revenue, basically, in a sense. So ideally, but that's why. What I will say, we are a little bit ahead of the curve. And now this is me being positive in that side. We are ahead of the curve in the way that we've done stuff with our club, in the way that we've built the stadium, blah, 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 blah. The fact that we've got concerts and crap shoved down its throat, which is exactly what we need to do to make revenues, to make money, blah, 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 so we can actually be sustainable moving forward to follow the new FFP rules, which is equally what Man City are doing right now because they have to try and get back into it where they can't plough money into it. Same with the likes of Chelsea and all the other football clubs that are involved in it.
Yeah, Johnny, did you find anything on the new FFP rules?
A little bit. I'm still reading a little bit, but basically it sounds like what Perchy just said. You have to raise your own revenue in order to spend it. You can't have owners that that just funnel money into the club and then owe them back money. Kind of like what Roman did with Chelsea.
Yeah, you can't.
How much did they pay him, or how much debt did he did he sign off when he sold the company? Wasn't it something like 2 billion or some horseshit?
Who's this?
200 million? I don't know.
Roman.
When Abramovich
Oh
dumped
yeah,
Chelsea.
no, yeah, but he left it in the trust, didn't he? He left something stupid with the trust, didn't he?
But he forgave a huge loan.
Yeah,
that
he
gave the
he
club.
wrote he did write off a lot as well.
200 million, something like that, a billion. I don't remember what it was, but it was a
Yeah.
ton.
Yeah, it was about 200 billion or something. Well, actually, it wasn't that much, but yeah, he wrote off a massive debt.
Shit.
Yeah,
Maybe if you're famous, it's not a lot. Good God.
that's a lot of money. That's 2,000 million. I mean,
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
That's a
Done
lot.
well there.
Right, what else is on this walking order? Let's see. Anyone else brought it up? What have we got here? Other than... Oh, we've got player rumours. Johnny, are there any more juicy questions? Before we get on to the player rumours.
I mean, I'm sure I could scrub through some. We have more of a football question, and then we have a juicy question. Do you want to save the juicy for the end?
Yeah,
Can I do the football question?
No, of course not.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do the football one now.
The football one. All right, this is for Perchy. So this is from Arthur in Goochland, Virginia. He says,
up,
rewind to the beginning of the season. Ange is our new manager. We don't know where we're going to finish, how the season's going to start, how well it's going to go, etc. How do you talk to your younger self to better set expectations and to minimize any disappointment or even get them excited? What would you tell to your younger self 6-7 months ago?
I would have said you're an absolute genius. You're probably going to be spot on, and I think you need to make sure everyone else should be as realistic as you are.
Wow.
What, is that what you said?
It's,
No, I said would finish around anywhere between 4th and 6th. Actually, no, I said 4th and 7th. So 4th and 7th is what I said.
You
I said would
eighth.
finish. I said
I'm
would
sure
finish
you
in Europe
said
this season.
8th. I'm sure.
Did I say? Oh, maybe in 8th. May have been 8th. Actually, yeah, I'll grant you with that. I might have said I should have been a little bit slightly more ambitious, but yeah.
Right,
that's a pretty
I
wide
think
bar, though, Perchy, isn't it? That's pretty wide. I mean, it's like, you know.
No, because the problem is what people do when they make predictions, they don't account for all circumstances. So that gives me enough buffer to go, okay, well, if we go and lose James Maddison for the season, I don't think we're going to finish in Champions League football. However, if I think that we're going to be sustainable, most of our players are going to stay fit for most of the season, I think we'll get into the Champions League places. So it's all a balance. So I kind of edge my balances depending on it. So I said, well, look, I think probably we're going to get a big injury this season. Someone's going to be out for the whole season.
All right, but
it's going to happen.
From now on, we can't hedge our predictions. You know, it's either.
I stand with it. I stand with it now. I think we're going to finish around 5th or 6th this season, or maybe even 4th if we get a little bit lucky near the end.
Johnny, what was the question again? Hold on,
basically, how do you talk to your younger self to better set expectations about the season with a new manager and all that stuff happening?
But does the question state that we knew it was Ange coming in?
Yes, it does.
He said when Ange joined, right? That was the question.
Yeah, and Ange is our new manager. So well, I mean, I guess we could rewind the clock a little bit, take some liberties with the question, and rewind back to the beginning of summer, the end of our last season, right?
Well, I'll leave it with Ange because I'm super proud, and this is me bigging myself up, that I remember I was driving everyone mad about this. I was so happy when Ange was linked. So I followed his career for a while because, I don't know, you could say it's like, maybe because he's Greek, it's Greek-Australian, and it's to have a Greek guy other than in the NBA do well in a different sport, it's so rare. And then I had Celtic fans who were really close to me, and they were telling me that not only are we playing the best football we have seen, but we love this man. He has made us love him, and no matter what he does, he can do no wrong. And so they then sent me some YouTube clips of this was from a year and a bit ago, where he was at a press conference where they were facing Rangers, I think for the 16th time that season. And he basically took the piss out of Rangers. And I thought, wow, if this guy comes in and he does the same when we're playing Arsenal, if he can do that, he can unite. He can be the Alexander the Great, where, I don't know if you guys know the story. So Greece was basically just a bunch of different different towns and countries, let's say, to all intents and purposes. And Alexander the Great united Greece and then went on, tried to conquer the world, right? And I just thought this guy can unite the fan base. And I was so happy when he was linked. And I was telling everyone about it. I went on to Spooky's podcast. I would talk about it like wherever I was going on Twitter. People wanted him to shut up. What do I know? But I'd read his books. I'd read the stuff about him. I'd seen the podcast like a year before he'd even joined. And I just felt, wow, I actually did some research on someone who I didn't even know was going to join Spurs. And I knew all about him beforehand. And so I dropped some ITK bombs, and that was the first time in my life I've done that. And I felt really proud. And I have always expected us to be third this season. I know I said we're going to win the league, but that was in jest. I think that we're going to take two summer windows. So that includes January before we are pushing for the league. I do also have a feeling that the Premier League will do us a favour, because in 2 seasons' time, I do believe that the new FFP rules are going to be in play, and I also believe that City will be without Guardiola once he realises, because he did make a statement that I asked the owners if they've cheated, and they told me no, and they don't lie to me. He was basically saying that if I find out you guys have cheated, I'm out, I'm done. And so that's the way to protect your brand. And if I was him, I'd do the same thing. And I don't think they're going to be with Guardiola. I don't think they're going to be able to spend, within the constraints that they have been. And so I think that at that point, we would have had enough Beyonce concerts, NFL and whatnot, to be one of the highest earning clubs in the UK, maybe Europe. Even probably without major Champions League success. It's because of all the off-field stuff that we're doing. And because we are run by someone, love him or hate him, who knows what he's doing when it comes to money. If only he could be just a bit more like gung-ho. But anyway, it is what it is, right? And I think that we will win the league. I think we'll win if Andrew's with us and things are going as they're going right now, then we will win the 25-26 Premier League. And I think we'll finish third this season. I said at the beginning. And yeah, so I wouldn't have a talk with myself. What I would do is I would just make a collage of all the tweets and me winding people up saying, I know we're thinking about Postecoglou, and I'll put that out there. I'll make a video about it. That's what I would do, if that answers that question.
That's great. I think I would probably just, I'd probably get my younger self more excited, because the beginning of the season was spectacular. I went in really cautious and I didn't know what was going to happen, and I wish I would have enjoyed it a little more.
But
That's all.
No, listen, I thought at the start of the season I expected. I said it. I was one of these that was like, no, this is the right manager for us. Blah 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 blah. I think he is the right manager for what we've got. Just think people just get a bit carried away, which is fine. Do what you want. I'm not bothered by that. But I just sit back and go. I think it's audacious to say that we go. The problem is I need a sample size of us recruiting well. We haven't got one. I can't remember the last time we had a good window. Like a proper good window that was good enough to go, we were the best and we've signed everything that we've needed. We haven't done it for such a long time. I think we're going to need more than what? I think you said, 3 transfer windows? I think it's a lot more than that. I think we need 3 years to sort the mess that we've got at this football club. It's such a mess. But the second it goes a bit wrong, let's see how this fan base is. This fan base becomes very, very flip-floppity when it goes a bit wrong. Whereas me sitting there get called negative because I'm relatively critical because I see something I don't like or I think should be better. But then I've said all along that I don't think that we are anywhere near a title run. I said it from the start. We could watch back on episode 1. I said it from day one. We're not in a title race. We're nowhere near a title race. Like, this football, we're too small in the sense of squad depth. But I think at the moment, I need to see window after window of good recruiting. It's all well and good signing a couple of good players in the summer. That's great. We need to be doing that window after window after window after window. We need to be a well-oiled machine where we're getting in the right player for this manager. If it's not this manager, the same manager profile comes in. Whatever. We need a proper conveyor belt of it. That's the
Persia,
way it works.
do you think that that's one of the problems that our clubs had for probably, I don't know, 4 or 5, even 6 years, is that there hasn't been continuity between our player signings and manager and just our identity?
I think it goes longer than that. I think it's gone a
Okay.
long. I think it's longer than that. I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think there's no continuity. And at the moment, touch wood, it looks like we are building that foundation to do it. I won't get excited yet until I see it, because I'm not one of these that I don't just get excited for the sake of it. I want to see it in action. I think we've got it starting to build, and Ange is the right manager to be the forefront of it all. But if he's not here in 2 years, the next manager comes in that follows the same ethos. We move. What we did is, after the Pochettino era, we went defensive, defensive, defensive. Now back to attacking. Well, it's never gonna work like that. Look at the great example is Brighton are the great example. I always use Brighton, and we could be the bigger version, the bigger brother of Brighton, where we get better players but follow the same ethos as them. That's the way to do it. They bring in a manager, they get rid of one, and the next one comes straight in, and he fits in like a glove. And then they go and they sell loads of players for 60, 70 million pound, and then they go and spend 10 million pound and recruit again, and then they go, and it's like a conveyor belt. We should be in that model, but at a bigger level, because we're a bigger football club.
Do me a favor, Pachi. When you're in the middle of when we're in the middle of that phase, when it's going well, appreciate it.
I am. We're not in the middle of it.
Okay,
we are
good.
not in the middle of it, though.
No, I know that. I know. But you said you're cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, because I haven't seen it yet, though.
I get you. I get you. I'm just telling you to appreciate it. That's all I'm telling you. I want to hear you smile.
No,
I want to
no.
hear you fucking yell
No,
yes
I do, no.
from the top of the rafters.
It's not possible. But mate, I'll give you an analogy.
Do you know what I do appreciate it, but I appreciate that I don't. For me, I'm always one of those who will be very much in the middle of it all. I wouldn't say I'm overly negative. I'm not overly positive at the moment. I'm very neutral with it all. I look at it and I see it for what it is. I try not to look at things with rose-tinted goggles, and I don't look at them with the devil's goggles either. I look at it kind of relatively in the middle, where everyone that is massively, massively positive calls me negative, and everyone massively negative calls me positive. It's quite incredible. I'm basically hated by everyone on each side of it because I sit in the middle. It's brilliant. It's great fun, by the way. Enjoy it.
So let me ask you this question, mate.
Tell me.
You can, if you look out your window and you see that foundations are being laid, and you walk out to the front, and there's like a big billboard of this big building that's coming, that's going to have like maybe a mall in it, and IMAX and bowling and all that stuff, right? And you then see not just a foundation being laid, but a few weeks later they start to pour in the concrete, and then you can start to see the beginnings of this building happening.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I know what you're going to say, and I've got the great
And
answer.
so we have put in place a team, which is a backroom team, a non-football, well, when I say non-football playing staff team, which is there to lay the foundations and to pick targets, which they will then show to Ange. And we can see not just the foundations being laid right now, but we can see the concrete being laid. We can see the basement being sorted, and we can see a lot of workers working their asses off to get this building done. So you can see that. So just enjoy it. That's what I'm trying to say. Just like,
But
if it even though it hasn't happened yet, I understand it hasn't happened yet, right? But you know what? The chance of it happening, it's quite high. Yeah, are we going to get some duds along the way? Yes, because they're human beings that we sign. They're not robots, right? And so someone might come in and they thought, I want to go there for the money because, for instance, we've got is it how do you pronounce it? Is it Hurasi? Is it Gurasi from Stuttgart?
You're right. Yep.
Right. He's a very good player.
Good player.
I'm saying that because I've watched his YouTube clippings, and so I'm clearly a
But
professional
the worry for
on
him
how
is
good he
he's
is.
only he's done it
He's a
one
kid.
season. So.
He's a kid, right? Yeah.
No, he's not. He's 27.
Oh, is he? Which one's the 18?
Yeah, it's just
Who's
the
the
first
18-year-old
rule.
that we're linked with? Is it Jimenez? We're looking at
Oh
a few
yes,
players.
Santiago Jimenez. Now,
Right.
now talk to me about a striker.
Right,
There
sorry.
you go.
So
You've got me
Santiago
though.
Jimenez at Feyenoord,
If we
right?
sign him, then I'll give you credit. I'll give us credit if we go and sign him in January because he's a player.
So the players that we're linked with, and this is no ITK. You can find this stuff out by going to latest Tottenham transfer rumours and just googling that, and you can find it. But one of the best sites to do this on is Football Transfers. I really hope they send us some commission. So there's a whole list of them, right? The one that I will not even bother with is Calvin Phillips. No, he's not a Spurs player. Although he did
Really?
do all right.
I don't.
He did
I
do
don't
all
think
right
Calvin
under
Phillips,
Bielsa.
I don't think Calvin Phillips is that bad. If you get him,
But
for
he
the
came
player
in
like
overweight, mate. He came in overweight, and his boss was Pep.
Yeah, but
what's he
but
going to do with Ange? You know
yeah,
what Ange is like. I mean, he
but
won't tolerate it.
a player like him, if you it all depends on the deal. If you can get the right deal for him, so like if it's a loan with an option to buy at the end of the season, that's the deal you get for 6 months because you go, do you know what? If it works out, great, we've got a good player. If it doesn't, you send him back, and it's short term problem. Like for me, a player like that, if we went and put down £50 million for him now, I'll go, well, what are we doing here? But then I've seen some of the players that we are linked with at the moment. I'm going, well, this is a bit concerning, but.
But like even like Santiago Jimenez, he looks the
He's a
business. Do
player,
you know what I mean?
He's the bollocks.
He looks great. Again, I'm just saying, like, it's just eye test. Have I seen him play?
Yeah, you would have done Champions League.
Yeah, I have seen him play, and he was all right that game. He didn't look like put out an Inter Milan Gareth Bale performance, but so few players ever do that, right? But yeah, he does look good. And so if we have targeted, let's say, a few of these players, and we do bring in Jimenez from Feyenoord, and we spend, I don't know what, 40, 50 million on him, and we bring him,
and we bring.
But even if he doesn't hit the ground running, you shouldn't. I'm not going to tell you how to act, mate. You know, I'm not supporting police, but just give these guys a chance. And just
I do.
Them, no,
I always
think
give players a
think I'm gonna be. I don't want to sound condescending here. You're 31. You're I know you don't, but you're 31, right, or 32?
Yeah.
Right. So Johnny and I have seen a lot more of the world than you have, and at your age, even up until the age of 35, I was one of those fans who would just go mental after each game, or if we didn't sign the right players, and I would scour the web, and I would be on News Now and blah blah. Even at the age of 35, right, nearly 10 years ago. Since then, I've learned. I don't know what happened, but it's just over time seeing Poch, and then seeing like those highs, and then seeing the lows of Mourinho and Conte, and I just think that what that's done is I sort of try and see a bigger picture. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not telling anyone how they should act. I'm just saying that it's weird that me and John we're trying to G you up.
Oh no!
I think
do you know what? Do you know what? I get massively G'd up for it all and stuff. The thing is what I do though. I don't make. I'm one of those. I have to see it before I believe it. I'm one of those. I always will be, and I don't care. Listen, as you say, support how you want to. Like for me, I'm not one of these that unless I see it to believe it, because all the stuff that I've believed in the past has never come into fruition. For example, my worry is in January, if we start, I know how we operate in the sense of I know what we've done in the past. I need to be seen. It needs to be corrected for me to start going, oh, we're going to go out there and spend 60, 70 million pounds on a Santiago Jimenez. We're going to go and sign a Scalvini from Atalanta, Crescente from Roma. And then I go, okay, well, we've signed, these are good players here. These are some top players. But then it comes along and then we go and sign Lloyd Kelly from Bournemouth on 6 months left on a contract.
He's not a bad player.
Is he?
Yeah, he's not a bad player. He reads the game really well. I think he's a good player.
Bournemouth, he doesn't play though at the moment.
He's a left. Yes,
he hardly plays.
It's because he's not. You know, he's out of contract and he's put his foot down that he won't sign a contract.
But for me at the moment, I think I'll always stand by it. Like in the sense of, for me, it's the bigger picture. I think I don't get excited over a transfer window, right? I go, okay, like this player, looks good. I think we signed some good players in this transfer window. I think I liked the likes of Van der Ven. I was massively all for James Maddison, of course. Udogie obviously came in. We signed him before, like him. Then I sit back and go, oh, I'm a little bit worried now. Because I think I'm worried that Brennan Johnson's being played out of position. That concerns me. I think
What about
Simon
Vicario?
Kruse. Oh yes, sorry, apologies. Yeah, Vicario as well. Sorry.
Did you like him from the? I mean, did you like the signing before you saw him play?
I was very much. I like this. It's like reminiscent. I remember streaming about it, and I got annoyed about the David Raya one. But I did say at the time, and it is on YouTube. If anyone doesn't believe me, me and a mate of mine, we were just chatting about it, and I just said, look, the fact we've pulled out of David Raya annoys me, but I will give credence and respect if tomorrow we're linked with someone and a bid's placed and they're on a plane, and then Vicario was done, and I was like, do you know what? I can't fault it because they've done exactly. If we didn't then sign a goalkeeper for 2 weeks after that, then I'd be like, what the hell are we doing? So you have to give credit where credit's due, right? And I went, do you know what? Fair enough. They did exactly what I said. I was one of these, and I thought loads of people gave a lot of criticism to Vicario in pre-season. I went, he hadn't done anything wrong. I just think I think he's been one of our best players at the moment.
For
I
sure.
think he's been
Yeah.
him and James Maddison have been probably our best players right now, by a long shot. I think they've been brilliant. Yeah. So listen, I think we've done well, but for me, the biggest problem for me was not signing at least another centre half. I thought that was negligence, and I think that was silly. It's now put us in a situation, and I said it to everyone at the time. I said, we can all talk about it, but we know what will happen the second we lose both our centre halves. We now look horrid and awful compared. And it's scary that it's not necessarily 3 players. You take Maddison out, you take Romero and Van der Ven out, we look a shell of the team that we are, and that terrifies me.
I
I
understand.
mean, we talked about it on last week's. We talked about it on last week's pod, and I was listening to the show again just a few days ago, and I think James, you made a great point that you take the top, 4 or 5 best players out of any team, they're going to look shit. At least
Really?
a partial team that they
Man
were.
City,
I mean, look at Man City. They
you
lost
could take-
Rodri.
Yeah.
They lost Rodri, and what they do? They lost 2 fucking matches, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they're top of the league.
With just Rodri out. I mean, but then De Bruyne's out as well. But I mean,
let's
I'm just
be
saying
fair.
it's
Let's be
even the
fair,
big
though.
teams
They
go through
did-
the same thing.
Yeah, but let's be fair. They didn't lose to Wolves because of Rodri. They lost to Wolves because Wolves defended like stallion all game, and Man City just couldn't break him down. I think that was in fairness. But I get your point. I do get your point. But you got to bear in mind, Man City have been out without De Bruyne, their best player, all season, and they've looked brilliant. By the way, I get your point. You use the same argument for the likes of Arsenal. You take four players out of Arsenal and they don't look at the same team. I get it. But the difference is I always call it this sort of drop off, right? The drop off from taking 4 players out of Arsenal and putting 4 squad players in to the same with us. The drop for us is massive. Like, you look at it and go, hang on a minute, we're now putting Dyer and Davis at centre half.
I can answer I can answer that question as to why though.
But that goes full circle to what I was saying, though, right?
But yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I'll take this away from football, and I'll go back to managing different people, right? So if you have gone into a company where, and you're managing a team, and things are stale, and you've got quite a few people in that team. I'm not talking about 1 or 2. I'm talking about 15, 20, 25 people, and things have gone stale, and because people have just got set in their ways, they're trapped in their comfort zones. They've not push themselves. They're not driven enough, because as human beings, that's what happens to a lot of us, right? And so if you then take some people out of that and you move them over because they're not very good, so you take out your 3 social media people because they just weren't very creative and they weren't delivering on time and whatnot, and then you move them over, I don't know, maybe to PR, and then you've got your 3 social guys. One gets hit by a bus, the other one, I don't know, just whatever happens, you then need to bring back the other 3 who were there, expect a drop off. It doesn't even matter if the policies have changed and the way that you do things have changed, expect a drop off. And so the difference with Arsenal is that they've been in their project with their manager for a few seasons. And so when you bring back Davis and Dyer, and even Lo Celso, and even Hill, who hasn't really played, when you bring these people back, this is what you get. I mean, do you really believe that Ange told them to play the Conte way against Wolves? Do you really believe that?
No.
I mean,
come on, mate. Come on, you can't. It's a simple answer. I mean, he didn't.
No, okay. What I'll say, this goes to benefit my point, just to prove it. This is what I said. Like when people were talking about winning the league, I said it won't happen. That's why I shunned it ages ago. That was it. But point two, I get it, but then that's fair enough. But if the manager, if he does it again against Villa and picks the same players and doesn't change it, then what are we going to say? We're going to say, well, no, hang on a minute, he's happy with these lads. Instead of going, do you know what, I'm going to put Alfie...
it's not binary. I'll explain what I mean.
Of course
by that.
it is.
No,
if he's going to do
this,
if we pick the same back four,
let me answer. If number one, we are not on the training field, we don't know what happens at Hotspur Way day in, day out.
Agreed.
Like if you listen to some of the people who watch youth team football and who have seen Phillips play, like for instance, on if you're a patron on the Fighting Cock and you listen to Kish, who's great, for instance, on the Lab podcast that they do, then he will tell you flat out, Phillips is not ready. Dyer is a better proposition for him. Dorrington is not ready. They're not ready. One minute. So if the only option, the best option you can choose is the worst of all these evils, and it is Dyer and it is Davis, okay? And you need to have Hojbjerg in there because Lo Celso isn't pulling up trees and he's being disruptive and whatever. You know what? You have to pick him. You have to pick him because if you go, I'm going to take a gamble on this kid, even though from all my years of experience, I can see that the worst of these evils, I said just now, is Dyer, and it is, for instance, Hojbjerg. Then you pick them, and it's not. And I guarantee the manager isn't saying, "Listen, because I'm picking you, I'm going to show you some Conte videos. You did really well. Just keep passing the ball back and not pressing. Can you continue doing that?" Ange isn't doing that. I guarantee he's not doing that. And if he has to pick these...
Then why did he do it against Chelsea when we went down to 9 men?
What do you mean? Who?
We pressed really high up on the halfway line.
It's very different when you're playing against a team like Chelsea or Arsenal. Very, very different. Moods are different. Everything is different. The psychology of the game is different. Okay? You can't... I'm telling you now, mate, it's not binary. It isn't. It's not like he's saying to them, listen, I'm going to pick the same players and I'm expecting different results. He's trying his best and he's saying to them,
I don't disagree with that.
But you can't train a bunch of players who have been set in their ways for so long in 2 games. It's not possible because they're not world class. Do you know what I mean?
Then the argument's got to be, was he happy with... Then we, as a collective, agree that the transfer window wasn't good enough. We can't have it both ways, right? Either the transfer window was brilliant and we had an amazing transfer window in the summer, or we didn't, right?
But you can't then go, because again, what you're saying, or what it sounds like you're saying, is we are going to go out there and we are going to buy 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 first team players when we then have 18 first team players and they're going to be upset. So there was a question I was going to ask you, right? Why can most likely City buy Mark Guehi, okay, from Palace, who I think is exceptional.
Great player.
Why can they buy him even though they will tell him, listen, mate, there's a big chance that you will be benched unless something miraculous happens. You will be on the bench. You'll probably play in the region of 2 hours of football for this season. Next season, probably 10 hours. That's it. So you're going to miss most of the games. If Tottenham said the same thing to him, what is the variable that makes him go to City? And it's not the trophies. And it's not Pep. And it's not Pep. All right, I'm sure that it could be a little bit.
But that's not entirely true though, because what Pep Guardiola does, which he's brilliant at, is rotating constantly. Like, the fact is he brought in a young kid, Enrico Lewis, who got his debut last night for England at the age of 18. Like, so I know it's not definitely comparable, but what Pep Guardiola does is he keeps his team fresh. So he normally takes, like, people said to me, Jack Grealish was an absolute waste of money. I said, no, give it a year and watch him be one of Pep's best players. Brilliant football player. And I'd say this all the time. I think people miss it. They think, that they're just going to sit on the bench. No, they don't. What they do is he rotates. Look at Nathan Ake. Didn't get a lot of time. Rotates a bit. He's now in their mainstayer now. So the thing is Guardiola's an absolute genius of what he does by allowing to get a big squad, but he gives these lads game time all the time. That's the difference.
I understand
We don't.
Okay, I get your point, but you know what? Mark Gurley is reportedly on 50k a week, and let's
Yeah.
say Spurs were to offer him 100k, and City come in at the last minute and say, listen, just like Spurs, you probably won't play every game because, let's be honest, when you have Van der Ven and you have Romero, you're talking about one of the top central defensive pairings in the world, and
Are
you have to
they?
try. Yes, they are, and you have to try.
Really?
Yeah, they are, and
Oh,
you have to
come
try.
on.
And you have to try
They're
and displace
good.
them.
They're
Let me
they're,
just get my
they're a
point
good
across.
centre half.
Right, let's just pretend that they are, right. And you, I don't know, listeners, you tell us if you think they're the best, right? And so you have to try and displace them. We're going to double your salary at 100k. City say exactly the same thing. You're going to get the same minutes as you would at Spurs, but you know what? We're going to give you 250,000. Who would you go
Yeah.
to? Who'd you go to?
Well, but the difference is this is the problem, right? We've become a football club where we're so worried about players displacing other players. Why can't we get in a Mark Guehi who goes, do you know what? I'm getting into that first 11 because I tell you what, I'd have him in over Romero sometimes because he's a much calmer defender. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think this is why all of a sudden we did. By the way, we did all of this under Harry Kane. We can't sign a striker because we've got Harry Kane. Well, no, of course you can. Other teams have two top strikers. We used to have two top strikers years ago. Robbie Keane, Jermaine Defoe, back in the day when we used to have four strikers, like and stuff. Four top strikers, by the way.
It's not up to us, though, is it, though, mate? It's up to.
Of course it is.
It's up to
Of course
the
it is.
Well,
it is
how?
because
How is it?
it's up to us to show the ambition of the football club to these players. If you go, well, you're just going to sit on the bench, now, of course not. No, but what we do want you on is we're going to be in the Champions League, so we're going to need you to be ready to jump in the league when we need to, because what we don't want to do is overplay certain players. What we might do is we might change formation a little bit and accommodate to have two of you up top. We might, if you want, what we can do, we know you can also play out on the left. What we will do is we'll use you as a different role. This is all about us as a football club being ambitious. And this is the problem. What we don't do, we allow them to not be ambitious by making, I would say, excuses. No, we should be signing top players. We should be signing the likes of Mark Guehi. That's the sort of player we should be signing. Yes, if Man City go against us in air quotes, a bidding war or a competition, Man City, you're going to go to Man City, they're a bigger and better football club than us. Let's not play around. That's the cold hard truth of it. This is where it all goes, right, for me. We need to, as a football club, we need to be at that level. We're not going to be there yet. It's going to take time. Always say that. It's going to take time. But we need to get there. That's all I say. We have to be ambitious.
I know. And my point is that what I believe is going to happen is we may, and I said this on last week's pod, I think that we're going to sign the Vicario type players, the Udogi type players where no one knows who they are, but they have a certain profile. They have the character. As I said last week, guys, if you just listen to the little tidbits that come out of Angie's mouth, then you can paint a picture, right? And if they have the character and they have the drive and they have some talent that he believes he can work on because he's seen things in them, and now we've got a whole backroom team who are not just putting one or two names to him, but they may be putting 15 names to him. We're going to sign players that you most likely have never heard of. I had never heard of Vicario. I'd never heard of him. The first time I heard of him was when someone said we were going to sign someone called Vicario. I thought it was a striker. He sounds like a Brazilian striker. I didn't know where he was from, and this is what I expect us to do. And for me, I think my wife's killing mosquitoes. I think for me, if you can hear some slaps, it's not me being slapped, is that I would much rather, I think it's far more creative to go after these unearthed gems, these rough diamonds, and then turn them into, let's say, do you remember when Dele Alli, when Dele signed for us, right? I would much rather see young talent come through that's given a chance, and they're not sitting on the bench going, oh, I should have gone somewhere else. I can't believe I left the other club. I've doubled my money, but it's not great. Ange goes for players who are going to buy into this project. And if you're not,
Yeah.
he said it
I
himself,
expect
you're
everyone
out.
to know.
Right? No, they don't. They don't because we're human
Of course
beings.
they do.
No, they don't. They don't. Unfortunately,
No,
they
because
don't.
of course they do. You
Why
buy,
didn't he
you
sign?
buy,
If it was Raya that he was talking about, where it's like, you know, we had a choice and it was either Tapsoba or it was Raya, right? Who he was talking about.
No, it was
No,
it was
who was it?
no, so it was Tapsoba and Van der Ven. The reason why he got Van der Ven in, rightly so, was because of
No,
his
you misunderstood.
pace.
I was saying we don't actually know, but it was
No, but
either
it was one of- yeah.
it was either Tapsoba over Van der Ven, who never joined, or it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
Raya
yeah.
over Vicario. That's what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
And so yes, you have, and the guy hasn't just worked in football. He's been a bank manager. He has dealt with all sorts of people. He didn't grow up in a family that gave him everything. He had to work his arse off. And I guarantee you, he's got the mimic personality where he sits there and he studies people. You can see it in him, okay? So if he says, you know, we've got a chance to go and sign Mark Gurhey and Jimenez, for instance, but you know what? Something's not quite right, so I'm going to bring in this 18-year-old and this 22-year-old that none of us have ever heard of. Then what we have to do until he starts to mess up is, I think what we have to do is have some faith. Even though I'm an atheist, we have some faith.
I agree.
Because we've seen enough evidence to show that things are going in the right direction, and this was done before we decided to sign all the Excel merchants from Aston Villa, to do this.
But we haven't seen the evidence yet of it though. We've seen 12 games of football, like 13 games of football if you count the League Cup. We haven't seen it yet. We see at the end of the year the fruitions of what's happened, right? And on the progression of the football club. Let's be honest, there's still a possibility we could finish in the bottom half of the table. Not saying we will, but there's still a possibility. If we hit the irony of it all is are we going to be sat in the same position if we've gone and lost 7 or 8 games on the bounce? We're not going to be sitting there going, "Oh, it's great."
But
no,
do you
we're not.
believe
It's not
that we're going to lose 7 or 8? Look,
no, but I think we could realistically lose 5 easily. I think we could lose 4 or 5 on the bounce.
I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. But what I think is
what,
that
you don't think we're going to we could lose against Man City and Villa.
No, I think we're going to beat Villa, and I think we may
Really?
draw or even beat City.
Wow,
Yeah,
I don't know where the confidence has come from with that back four.
Because the confidence has come from this guy who has united a fan base like I haven't seen in years.
Yeah, but
that's enough for me to go on.
That's not basing on anything.
It is though, because if we can translate that to the players, anything's possible in football. You know that, right? Anything's possible.
No, but of course, yeah, but that's it. Anything can happen. But I'm not being funny. I'm not putting £1,000 on us to beat Aston Villa on the weekend because I sit there and go, whoa, what's going on? I look back at it all. I take it all the way back because it's very easy when we sit back and go this, that, and the other, right? It's very easy to say that, but we could say, well, Newport County have just got in a great manager, blah, he's pulling up trees. Just because their fan base absolutely love him doesn't mean I think they're going to beat Aston Villa on the weekend. I look at the cold hard truth. We're missing our 2 best centre halves. We're missing our creative midfielder, and Wolves showed exactly what is wrong with us at the moment, because when we're missing these players, I don't think Villa are a better team than Wolves. That's the difference, right? It's all well and good sitting there being all, and I respect it. I get it. Like going, oh, it's great. The positivity at the football club. Yeah, but that still positivity doesn't win you games of football. Good football players win you games of football, right?
It's not just one thing, it's some whole mix. But listen, we've rambled on it. Oh, go on, Johnny.
I was going to say, can I close this out by saying I think you guys are just coming at the same problem from different angles. One is much more of a hopeful, optimistic, loving the ride mentality, and one is more grounded, expectation, measured mentality. And that's it. That's it. Perchy, I'm not saying you're not loving the ride. I'm not saying you're loving the ride. Yeah. I'm not saying that you're not loving the ride. What I'm saying is that yours is just more cautious, cautiously optimistic.
Realistic. Listen,
okay, you can say that. That's fine. But you know that's all I'm saying is that you guys are. I mean, you both. We all want to see Spurs do right?
Of course. It's just, as I said, I want me to be wrong. By the way, I sit there and I say I want to be wrong. I want us to go and win 38 games in the season and go undefeated and win the trophy and go absolutely crazy. Of course I do. But I sit back and look at what's in front of me and go, I am a little bit worried with what I'm going to see in the next few games. But listen, it's cool. We could be wrong. I could come back here and then I'm going to have James going, well, I told you so, which is what I want to hear.
No, I wouldn't do that, because for me, I'll be so happy, with what I'm seeing. I'm not going to then go back, and I'm not that kind of person. Right, we've got one more question. I think we've done everything, right? But we have got
we're done.
We've got one more question. We've gone for ages. I think this is the longest international break pod going. Johnny, who's
One more question.
Who's the last one?
One more question. This is from a guy named Wyatt in Bingley. I don't know where that's at. Bingley,
Bingley.
UK.
Wyatt?
No idea.
Isn't Bingley where they've got the big fish and chip shop?
Must be.
Is that right?
Isn't that
Have
all
you
they
seen
have?
I don't fucking know.
Big up Bingley. Bingley
All
mega
right.
chippy.
Your wife comes home and tells you she cheated on you. She wants a divorce. She's roaming away with another man. She says you can have everything. All you have to do, and her new guy is going to pay you millions just to be free and clear of you. Okay, so wife or girlfriend says, I'm out. I'm done. You can have everything. I just want to be with my man, and my man is actually going to pay you a load of money just to make you go away. However, there's a catch, Perchy.
Of course.
You're not going to get the money until she wants to watch you get bummed by her new man. So, how quickly do you become a millionaire?
One minute. Can I try and understand?
answer.
Can I try and understand this question? So, your wife, who up until a few seconds ago, she was your wife, and now she's saying, "I am." Someone tell Ross he can jump on. So, I want Ross to answer this question. So, just so that I can understand, there is the woman who you've been living with all of a sudden becomes your ex-wife. Is that what we're saying? And,
Yep. She basically comes home and says she's done. She's done.
She's done. You can keep the house. You can keep everything, and you will get what? What is it? £1 million? What is it? What's the deal?
He just said he said in the question from Wyatt it said millions.
But her new guy has to.
She wants to watch you get bummed is the problem. So she just wants you to get humiliated, really, and watch you get humiliated.
I'd have to. I mean, what I'd probably do is sell the house, sell all her belongings, hire a hitman, take them both out. I mean,
Nobody wants to become a millionaire?
no. I mean, there's other ways to become a millionaire, right? And yeah, Perchy, what do you do, mate? Is Perchy not with us?
I'm here.
What would you do then?
What? I didn't hear it. My thing froze.
Your thing froze. Is that what you tell Susie?
Uh-oh.
Is it
I
frozen?
think it froze again.
I think it's frozen again. Susie she's an almighty woman.
She has a deep drawer of batteries, I guess.
So we've got some good news. It looks like the date between Hannah and Ross went really well, and we're asking them to both come on because they've ended their date. Half a pack of wafers was eaten. This we can. I
want to know what's going on. I do have to run though. It's been absolute pleasure today.
Right, you can, but we definitely want.
Yes.
Where are they?
I want to hear what Ross and Hannah's date's been like.
Yeah, so
I'm so intrigued by it.
In Slough, it was apparently a fast food joint, and that's all we know so far. So yeah, we'll look forward to them coming on. Johnny, anything else before we're waiting for them to come on?
How's Athena coming along with her Spurs education? Spursication.
Really well, really well. She keeps sending "Come on, you Spurs" messages, which is really funny because she still calls Tottenham Hotspurs, and so I have to keep correcting her and say that there's no S on the end. But she will watch her first game soon, I think, which is really cool. And what else? We're still waiting for. I think Perchy completely frozen. He's gone. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
He must have left.
Yeah, he had enough. So anything else before Ross comes?
We need people to leave reviews for the show. Leave reviews. Give us a
Yes.
5-star rating, please. Get us up those
Yes.
rankings for other Spurs shows, and of course, always find us on X at Hotspur Way Show @Hotspur Way Show. You can find me on X if you're interested at Muddy Backyard. Always send me the interesting questions. You can find our friend Ross, who should be on in a minute, at Spurs Simpsons, and
I
of course
think
Hannah is at Hannah Haiti. Hannah Haiti, I think.
Hannah A.
Hannah A.D. There we go. Hannah
A-D-E-E, right?
A.D.E.E. Yeah, D.E.E.
Yeah. So Ross, you're here, mate, aren't you?
God, I didn't even have time to put bloody Pornhub on. What do you want now?
1 minute, you just come off a date with Hannah, and you're going to put on Pornhub. I mean, she's about to join as well, so I'm going to ask her why you've just immediately gone to Pornhub when you've just come from Slough. I mean, that's why you missed the pod, both of you. You went to Slough. Which did you at least take her to a fancy restaurant? No comment. Is that what you're saying?
They had golden arches.
Really? You took her to Mackie D's, but she hates fast food.
Now, for our U.S. friends, is Slough a very nice community to take a date?
No, I think it's a shithole.
Okay, there it is.
So we have quite a few American listeners now, which is maybe thanks to you, Johnny. But
That's great.
If you have never watched the original The Office mockumentary show with Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant,
Yep. That's how I knew where Slough was.
yeah, you've got to watch that, and you'll know what Slough is like and what people in Slough are like. I mean, if you're listening to this and you're from Slough, then move. That's all I have to say about that. So how was Hannah? She's joining, but I want to hear what you have to say before she comes on.
Well, unless she was at my work office, I didn't actually see her. Can we just get that for libel reasons?
Really? So you're telling me that's how the date went? You took it to the office.
Yeah, I just went to work.
You went to work.
No, I don't.
Come along.
I work 5 minutes down the road. Stop putting words into my mouth. Where's my lawyer?
We've been telling everyone that you both went on a date, and you're supposed to play along, but now that's not
Oh,
happening.
sorry. She was lovely. As a woman, I can give her no higher status than Princess Anne couldn't even light a candle to her.
Princess Anne has to be one of the ugliest royals I've ever seen in my life.
Princess Diana, I've had a long day.
Princess Diana is also one of the ugliest royals I've ever seen in my life.
Really? You don't
Yeah.
like? You did?
I didn't say I don't like her. I just said she's, she wasn't exact. Everyone used to say she was gorgeous. God, I'm
She
gonna be
was.
cancelled now. No, she wasn't. Absolutely not. Where's Hannah? I'm gonna ask Hannah if she thinks she was all right. So, do you want to? Have we got any funny questions?
For Ross.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I have one. He came on the pod and he sounded kind of nasally. I don't know if that's because he's like suffering from a cold or because his fingers are permanently shoved up his nose now because he just wants to sniff them.
You know that Hannah is actually on the pod right now. She heard what you just
Oh.
Yes. She's muted herself. I don't know if that's she's that on purpose or she's tutting. Oh, these international break pods. Hannah is still muted.
So-
we can confirm that she is on the pod. It's just none of you can hear it.
So she can just hear
Yo.
us. She can't talk back.
Oh, there you are.
There we go.
There you are.
Good evening.
We can. So how was the date with Ross? We want full specs on how was he with you?
Christ.
Was he good? Is he all right? Is there a second date?
Was he
coming?
good?
Yeah.
What do we mean by was he good?
Well, you tell us. I mean,
All I'm going to say is it didn't last very long.
well, if he told us he took you to his office, and so I don't know. Of course, it didn't last very long. Did he have you doing the filing or?
Guys, what have I missed?
Oh well, you
A lot.
lot could have ordered 25 kebabs for your date because me
what
and
you didn't rant
Perchy,
about.
me and Perchy
What
went
the
on a massive rant, and we are still recording, by the way. And if anyone is still listening to this point other than us, then congratulations.
Me and Perchy keep
Yeah.
missing each other.
I do it on purpose. Have you not noticed?
Yeah.
Seeing as I can tell everyone that you have muted him on Twitter, which is really funny.
I told him that myself.
Because you are part of the same pod team, but you don't like each other, which is great.
Oh no, we do like
It's
each other.
such a healthy relationship, you know.
Don't cause beef where there isn't any, James.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm like. So, other than that, I think we're done. We've been going for ages, 79 minutes. Oh, God.
The longest pod.
It's one of the longest pods, and I'm tired.
And of those 79 minutes, I think 59 was you and Perchy arguing back and forth.
I wasn't really arguing. I was just trying
What were
to-
you arguing about?
So I was just
You were
trying
defending yourself.
No, I don't need to defend myself. It was just I was just trying to get him to
I'll
understand.
summarize because
Yeah.
I'm a third party, James. I'll summarize.
All right.
Basically, Perchy's negative. Basically, James is a little more optimistic. There you go. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's fair.
look, as I said, if you're still listening to this, all I'm going to say, I'm not going to ever tell anyone how to support their club or support anything, but if the whole point is the journey, and then if the destination is great, then enjoy the journey. Stop thinking about, but what if? The what if scenarios shouldn't count in football. It's such an emotional game, and if you can remove the what if scenarios, okay, because they are really formulas in Excel. And if you can remove those and you can just say, you know what, it doesn't matter what if, I'm gonna enjoy this ride. Just like I really, and I think all of us did, we enjoyed the Chelsea loss and we called that show Proud, and we were proud. Not so proud after the Wolves won, and we went into a bit of depth about that. But yeah, that's we're summarising our own podcast on the podcast that we're still on. This means that we have to end. This means that we have to end it. I think so. Yeah, we're
Yes.
gonna. Oh, by the way, before we go, let's do some predictions. Johnny, can you do the honors on the
Yep.
typing?
I got it.
Yeah, do your ASMR typing stuff. Hannah, what do you think? Because last time we spoke, you were saying, we'll probably lose. Do you still feel
I was being
the
a
same
negative
way?
Nelly, wasn't I?
You were.
I do still think that, unfortunately. I still think maybe a 1-0 loss.
Ooh, are you going to be there?
I might be there. I'm hoping I'll be there.
I can't.
Holding Ross's hand.
No, not anymore.
Like his carer.
Jeez, I'm glad I came on now.
Ross, what do you think, mate? Are we going to win, lose, draw?
What do I think?
Yeah.
I'm hurt. Emotionally and physically hurt.
I wasn't asking if you won, lost, or drew with Hannah. I'm talking about the game. So, what do you think's going to
I
happen?
always lose. It'll be a 2-2 draw.
You're going for a Desmond. Johnny, what about you, mate?
Oh man. I'm gonna say 2-0 loss.
Ooh,
My goodness.
I'm going
mate.
even worse than Hannah.
maybe I won't go.
I can see us conceding.
What has
goals.
Perchy done to you lot? Jeez.
Don't you know he's very influential? Like, he's a celebrity, isn't he?
Well, he is an influencer, isn't he?
Yeah,
He
he
is.
was at the FCA's, and
Does he get as much engagement as me, though?
No, well, I'll tell you what. Let me just quickly say, I think we're going to win 3-2. So, talking about engagement, and I'm not talking about yours and Ross's. When it comes to Twitter, do you want to tell us about what's been going on?
There's been a lot of angry old men that just really don't like me.
Not me. For clarification, that's not me.
No, you're not angry.
And
Yeah.
I'm
they
not
just-
what?
Moving on. Okay, you're older than me. No?
Hurt.
He is.
We'll talk later. I'll make up for it. Yeah, so a lot of angry men in my comments. They don't like me. They don't like the things I say. They want to send me inappropriate photos. But I would actually just like to say that I had a message from the football club that the one who was commenting last night was affiliated with, and they want him out of their football club. So really pleased with that one.
Wow.
Without revealing the name of the club, them men weren't united. Oh,
They're in America, right?
Yowza.
I'm really pleased with that one. So yeah, just another day in the life.
I know, but the great thing with you is that you just brush it off. and
I
it's
love
not
it.
all I know. And well, I don't love it when it's happening to you. When it's happening to me, it's one of the greatest joys in my life. But, you know, no one sends me dick pics. It's a shame, but yeah. So
Ross?
I don't.
Ross,
well,
Ross,
he
do him a
does.
solid. Send him a dick pic.
They don't count. I mean, Ross.
I miss Spooky. I'm gonna call Spooky.
Tell Spooky that he needs to have me back on his show. I'm gonna call him. I'll tell him.
No.
Right. I think we're done, guys. Listen, it's been lovely having you all on again, and yeah, we timed it really well. So Hannah and Perchy weren't on at the same time. Maybe they're the same person. Who knows? Anyway, guys,
Could be.
speak to you later. Love you loads. And should we do?
Bye.
Oh, you said bye first. Hannah, do you want to say bye?
Bye-bye.
Johnny.
Give us a review. Follow us on Twitter. I'm sorry, on X at Hotspur Way Show. At Hotspur Way Show. That's
Hotspur Way
it.
Show.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.